Welcome back to Aging with Power on your hometown station AM 1220 KHTS. If you're just joining us, we are talking Henry Mayo Fitness and Health, a new facility. Well, I say new, but it actually opened last September. But we're in a lot of great, what would you call them, Sharlene?
Proactive.
Not proactive. We're giving things away for free. We're in this mode where you can take things over there for free. I'll come up with what that's called.
Accessibility.
Something like that. But it's not just your typical workout club, folks. It's the outpatient physical therapy for Henry Mayo Hospital. There's so many classes, and we're talking with Katie Cianci, a clinical social worker with Henry Mayo, before the break about things that are so important on the mindful meditation level and how the mind and the body really intertwine. So, Katie, let's continue that chat with not only what you're talking about, those classes, but other classes that are available over there, not only for members at this point in time. Gosh, I want to think of that term. I'm just going to blurt it out. When it's kind of like a advertising kind of promotional period, maybe. I don't know what you call it, but anyway. So mind, body, the intertwining of both, kind of tie a bow around that, and kind of tell us what else is available on those sort of levels over there.
Well, as you mentioned earlier, mindfulness is a practice of just getting to know, paying attention to our own bodies, paying attention to our emotions in a non-judgmental way. So often, like you mentioned earlier, so often we're just we're going. We're so focused on what we need to do next, and we have so many thoughts that come into our mind daily that oftentimes we don't pay attention to our bodies and what our bodies are telling us. So often our bodies are telling us if we're feeling sick or if we're hurting, we have pain in our bodies. But if we're not paying attention to that, we can't do anything about it. So what's nice is that with the mindfulness practice is once you start to do it on a daily basis, or even just regularly, you start to pay attention to your body and what it's telling you. So, and that also helps with the fitness. So if you are mindful of your body, you're able to really, utilize the services that are offered with the physical therapy as well as the personal trainers. The other component as well is we offer another education class that is a suicide awareness class, and that's to inform people about suicide because it is very prevalent. It's a topic that many of us don't talk about, but as we age, we go through transitions in our lives where there's a sense of loss. So we may lose someone that we love, we may lose our job or our purpose, and we're looking at making those changes. So sometimes people in those situations do feel depressed or feel that they start to have thoughts of suicide. So we do talk about how to look for those signs and then how to help someone and get them to the support that they need in those situations. So it really is a wonderful education program that we offer. We're going to start to offer additional classes and support groups. I'm looking at offering one for depression and anxiety, since that is very prevalent as well. We can certainly plan to incorporate some of the mindfulness practice in that as well, since it is shown by research to reduce the depression and anxiety symptoms.
Right. And I don't know if this is you or Sharlene. So I mean, there's so much of that mindful awareness that we're talking about. But then as we shift the gears, that this is a health club. Mm-hmm. This is physical exercise. This is what, and I know Catherine Vetter couldn't be here today, who heads up the Zumba class and stuff. But I don't know who wants to, what other classes, other than just going and doing your routine on the machines and whatever that we'll get into in a little bit, what other type of pedal to the metal classes do you guys have over there to really rev up the physical aspect of things?
So on the active component, as opposed to the educational side, the
Right.
tools, we have everything from cycle classes. We also have Power Sculpt, which is an activity class that's more strength training. We have a core class in which we work on those core stabilization exercises. Some of our most popular classes that also have been there are therapeutic yoga, because we have a lot of folks that either come in there for relaxation techniques, stretching, myofascial release, because they might be having some cramping going on in their muscles, or need to alleviate some strain or pain on their back or their joints. So that's another one of those classes. Another one that seems to be quite exciting for most folks focusing on like more motor control is Tai Chi. A lot of individuals don't realize how difficult it is, but it also helps a lot with balance, core stabilization, stretching, but also being very intentional. We seem to talk a lot about that, being very intentional with our movements and our exercise, but also with stress relief. So our classes, focus on that stress reduction side. We're in Heart Awareness Month too, so heart health, but also on being able to be mobile. I mean, really, truly behind the idea of being physically fit is to be able to do the activities and enjoy our life. Reduce stress, be mobile, be able to do the everyday functions, go hiking, go biking. So we have everything as far as cardio equipment. I mean, there's a lot of standard equipment across the fitness industry that most folks have: treadmills, stair climbers, row machines. So we do have all of that. But when it comes down to it, I think the thing that is a huge differentiator from us in the standard community is having that guide, because we find people that come into our facility won't stay active if they don't have that personal touch, they don't have that roadmap to success, know how to utilize equipment. That's a huge inhibitor for folks. And so we have those individuals that are there to support you. So that's, I think, what we do have. As far as classes, I mean, we have the array and the gambit to be able to support somebody that's more high intense all the way to something that's low impact.
How many times you walked in the workout area and you see people just kind of looking at the machines like going, what the?
Where do I start?
And the worst thing about not exercise, or what's worse than not exercising, is exercising improperly. Because if you injure yourself, or you use the machine improperly, or something like that. Now, I know we're coming up on our next break, but you can start. But I also know that, and I don't know how prevalent this is, but we have a couple people in our community who are actually training for something special, like Amy Daniels and things. So you guys can actually get involved with, I mean, of course, what she's doing is she's claiming what, Mount
Kilimanjaro.
Mount Kilimanjaro. So obviously that is a heck of a goal, and you guys actually get involved with helping folks prepare for something like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. We have, as I said, we have trainers on staff from the array of activities that you would like to do. I mean, we have individuals that focus a little bit more on mobility, because we do have individuals that walk through our door that might have had a knee replacement, a hip replacement. But then when you get those super active, very passionate, driven people like Amy Daniels, who is going to take on the mountain, we want to make sure that she's doing those functional movements and also those functional training components that are going to mimic what she's going to encounter as we go forward.
Do it without oxygen, like she's going to be.
Yep.
All right, we're going to take our next break, so hold that next thought. So when we come back, we're going to continue talking more things, Henry Mayo Fitness and Health. You're listening to Aging with Power on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Welcome back. You're listening to Aging with Power on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. I'm your host, Myles McNamara, and we are talking with Sharlene Duzick and Katie Cianci about Henry Mayo Fitness and Health and all the different aspects of the benefits over there, and that's available to you not only as a member, that's the end goal, of course, but also the educational classes and things that are available to non-members on a promotional basis, I guess you would call that.
Yeah.
I still can't knucklehead. But anyway, so Sharlene, let's expand more about, because like you were saying at the break, and it seems like most of our best conversations are happening at commercial, as far as how everybody is different and how everybody may approach things with not only a misconception, but incorrectly because of their own individual circumstances.
So when I talked a little bit about being that first person and encountering what they're looking for and assessing what their needs are, understanding what their goals are is really helpful. And we talked a little bit about Amy climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. I'm training for 70.3, a half Ironman. I know, we're all crazy. But how is that? I have a lot of folks that come through our door and say, I've got my fitness routine. I know what I'm doing, and how are you going to benefit me? Because every fitness facility I walk into, personal trainers can help me wherever I go. So you're just another run-of-the-mill gym. And I have to say that there's a huge differentiating factor with us in the other fitness facilities, because not only are our trainers on site to help you train for your events, but they're also going to be on that preventative side. So you'll find we put you through a functional movement screen. Each person goes through a full health risk assessment, and the first thing that we ask for is, okay, past injuries. We ask about medical history, if you're diagnosed with anything, any medications that you might be on that might inhibit you from doing certain workouts. Then we take those findings, which focus on joint mobility, core stabilization, muscle strength and endurance in your upper and lower body, as well as flexibility. So if you're that athlete that might have some areas that I might come in and I say, I have chronic hip pain, I have knee pain, I have some issues going on, we're going to also be able to identify some asymmetries in your body that might be fueling that. So not only are we going to train you for your event accordingly, maybe on the endurance side or the functional movement side like Amy, but we're also going to look at some corrective work. So on the preventive side, you might be doing some plyometrics, like for example, training for 70.3. You're looking at a runner's stride and how does that impact? How are you hitting the ground? Is that causing any of your chronic knee pain or hip pain? Are you flexible? Are you tight in your hamstrings or your calves? Is that causing any of your pain? Rarely the site of the pain is the source of the pain you hear. So you're going to find that our staff are pretty well versed in understanding what we can do to either start on the corrective side in the foundation, leading you all the way up into you might be doing some squats if you're trying to work on your posterior chain and you're more gravitating towards like a swim, bike, run. Or for example, Amy climbing a hill, she's going to be doing a lot of leg work. So what is that going to look like for you? The other side is it's so beautiful that we're married with outpatient physical therapy on site, because you always hear in people's minds that outpatient is just for when you're injured. Not necessarily. I mean, we have in our outpatient services, we have an anti-gravity treadmill, and yes, that does happen to serve those folks that need to alleviate that pressure and the strain on those joints if they've had like a severe injury while they rehabilitate and keep their mobility. But if you look at it on an athletic standpoint inside, if you are constantly running and constantly putting pressure on your joints and working towards a run, you can actually cause an injury. So our members have access to the anti-gravity treadmill in outpatient physical therapy to be able to train for some of their runs so that they can still work on that cardio conditioning, that mobility, that movement pattern that's affiliated with that, but also making sure that they're proactive on that injury prevention side. And sometimes we have folks that come through our door that aren't aware of those asymmetries in which it's like pronation or supination of your feet, and how's that feeding into some chronic pain or some chronic injuries. So what does that corrective work look like? It's not just hitting the gym and we're going to make you skinny and we're going to make you solid and we're going to make you the next Arnold Schwarzenegger. We're here really to look at your overall health. So if you are somebody that's very athletic, I did have somebody walk into our fitness facility and say, you don't have 200-pound dumbbells. And I was like,
well, we do now, so come on in. Go ahead, sorry.
But what are you training for? Because realistically, how many of us are, those pro athletes that need certain tools that be accessible, or is it more on, that bragging rights side? We want you to be realistic about your health, your goals, and how you're going to achieve them, and doing it with the resources that have that powerful information on the physiology of the body, how that feeds into it, on your biometrics and body mechanics, so that you achieve the results that you want.
Well, I think the biggest thing you're really hitting on is that no matter how long a lot of us have been doing this, we don't necessarily know what we don't know.
Right.
And you think you're doing things right, and you think you're motoring along just, doing everything hunky-dory, and that's a scientific term. But again, it's you may be physically doing something in your process that eventually is going to catch up with you.
Absolutely, absolutely. We hear repetition, doing something incorrectly over and over and over again can create that injury, and it might have been 10, 20 years. There are a lot of individuals that walk in from the U.S. Postal Service or having those laborious jobs jobs, that it's that consistent movement pattern over and over again that has caused that injury. So what can we do on that preventative side for individuals in that same capacity that can eliminate that, or how can they change the movement patterns associated with it too?
Right, and as well as preventing injury, I mean, also you have to, that's why I think CrossFit has become so popular, you have to continue to shock your body. I mean, if you just do the same workout day in and day out, just going there, your body's going to stop responding to that. So last time you see people working out and they're not seeing the results they want, well, you've been doing the same bloody workout for 5 years and you're not pushing yourself. So I mean, this whole analysis is so important. Well, when we come back, we'll put a bow on all this, and then also some additional information, not only exactly where you are, but how we can explore Henry Mayo Fitness and Health and become a member and take advantage of the classes and the seminars, and as you put so nicely, experience the difference.
Yes.
So don't go away, folks. We'll wrap it up after the break. You're listening to Aging with Power on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Welcome back to Aging with Power. I'm your host, Myles McNamara, on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. We're wrapping up a great informative hour. We've been talking about Henry Mayo Fitness and Health, not just your average health club, but all the classes and seminars and support groups and educational abilities that you could take advantage of. And Katie, I'm going to bounce it over to you real quick before we talk about how do you become a member or what more informational gathering we can do. But you mentioned something really great at the break as far as how the different approaches to pain management. So why don't you kind of expound on that a little bit?
Sure. So as a social worker at the hospital, I'm often asked to meet with patients who have chronic pain, and oftentimes they've become dependent on oxycodone or Norco or any type of opiate pain medication because they've had an injury. And so they're prescribed this medication. What a lot of people don't know is that over time, when taking that medication, you become dependent. You need to use more of it in order to get the same effect. And then you end up not moving your body, and so that it causes more weakness, which exacerbates the pain. So what is wonderful about the Health and Fitness Center is that they offer the physical therapy. They offer personal trainers that can work with you and try to improve your movement, and that can also build muscle mass and in certain areas, and you can certainly talk more about that. But it does improve pain, and that is actually the recommended prescription, I guess, for pain management is actually improving your movement and strengthening parts of your bodies. And maybe you can touch on that a little bit more. So you're saying the
opiates actually inhibit your movement and flexibility?
It can, because you're taking these medications, and typically you're laying down. It can affect your motivation. It can make you more sleepy and fatigued. So you're really not moving your body, which is causing more pain, if not in the area that you originally had, but in other areas. And then it also affects, you can become addicted to it. So it's a real issue. It's an epidemic, actually. So, if people are having those kinds of issues with those pain management and taking these medications, really, the best thing for them is to look at trying to improve their fitness and health overall, and try to get away from and wean off of those medications.
Yeah, use it or lose it.
Yeah.
That old saying is, we don't grow old because we stop playing. We don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing.
Exactly.
So how does one gather more information, Sharlene? And I want to become a member over there. So what's my first step? How do I do my information gathering? And what's the process? And where are you guys located? And give us your contact information again, so folks can take that next step and just do a non-obligatory kind of exploration over there.
Well, you have a couple of different routes to achieve that. First of all, we have our website. It does have a Google tour on it. It's absolutely beautiful and stunning, so you can see the facility, but I would encourage individuals to come in. They can call and contact myself or any of our staff members at 661-200-2600. 2348, or you can go online and get a guest pass, which I highly recommend because fitness is something personal, and I tell everyone I speak with over the phone, it has to be the right fit for what you're looking for, the type of environment, the type of support system. In addition, I mean, you find individuals that are more prone to classes. There's some individuals that are more prone to utilizing aqua aerobics or pool.
We haven't talked about your pool,
We
by the way.
haven't talked about it. We have a 25-yard pool that is heated to 81, 82, so it's comfortable for that lap swimmer and it's comfortable for our folks that do aqua aerobics, which is great because we have individuals that, they want low impact, but they still want a high cardiovascular type workout. Great for that, especially if you have a back injury too or a knee injury. Keeps the buoyancy and off of those joints and the pressure. But most importantly, what I would love for individuals to do is I love them to come in, be my guest for a day, try out the facility. I'm more than happy to connect them with our staff members, introduce them to folks in education, understand that there's those tools on nutrition, stress management, all of that associated with the facility, and then having, interacting with a high caliber individual that can meet their needs because everybody's body's different. And I say fitness is prescribed. What we prescribe for you is not going to be the same for everyone else because your body physiologically is going to be different. How you respond to different type of workouts, how you respond to different type of intake. So we want to be able to support you and your whole health completely. So
Cool. So again, folks, that's henrymayofitness.org. The main line, 661-200-2300, or straight to Sharlene is 200-2348, right?
2300 is so that you register for our education classes because you should be doing it. No. Internally, if you want to get a hold of me, 2348 or any of our staff members to get a tour, or you can go online and get a guest pass at henrymayofitness.org. But please do come and see us and experience the difference of our facility.
Well, Sharlene, Katie, thanks so much for
Thank
taking
you.
the time out of your busy day, folks. That does take us to the end of the hour. Told you it'd fly by. But if you have specific requests that you'd like me to address, specific subject matter experts you'd like me to bring on, shoot me an email at mileswithay@agingwithpower.com or mileswithay@comfortkeepers.com, and I will bring them on the show because this is your show. Preparation is knowledge, and knowledge is power, as I said at the top. But we are sponsored by Comfort Keepers In-Home Care. I'm Myles McNamara of Comfort Keepers. And remember, folks, aging is not a disease, it's a journey. So do it with power.